We have here Rodrigo Machado. He is one of the founders of Catarse. So it's a pleasure to have him today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rodrigo. So explain for those aliens who doesn't know what Catarse is. What is Catarse?
Okay. Catarse, in English, Catarse, is a crowdfunding platform. I think everyone here knows Kickstarter. I think it's a good point of start because it's well known today. But when we started in 2010, actually we were a small group of people, like thinking in how to solve a problem. And we are actually 5 founders, and we didn't know each other before founding Catarse. And every one of us, we had some kind of pain about the business. I was, for example, a photographer. I was graduating in journalism. I was studying Kickstarter, and my final papers were about Kickstarter and Indiegogo and how the internet and like the decentralizations of funds and the distribution of opportunities through funding would be a changing point, a tipping point for artists, creators, entrepreneurs, and everything else. And we found each other through internet in a forum that was put on air by Diego and Luis, 2 of the co-founders, and Daniel Weiman, who is a tango dancer and also a developer. And me and my brother, we were here working in a project. Every one of each cell of the founders were working in their specific way of seeing this platform. And then we found each other and said, man, there's no sense, no point in competing, and let's join our forces because there's no market and we should join forces to go. And only one coder and 4 guys from different backgrounds. And
5 passionate guys and
yes.
1 coder. And how did we, since you were only 1 coder, how did you move from the idea and to the first steps, to developing the platform?
Yes.
What was your first step or MVP?
Yes, our MVP was finding projects that were willing to put their ideas on air and try to validate it through funding, and no payment system, for example. Everything were manual, and we should approve payments like Stripe is express checkout and stuff like that. Today it's easy. At that time we need to manually approve every payment that were going through the platform. And this was a challenge.
We're talking about 2011, 2010?
2011. Okay. January 2011 were our launching. And from then to now, we had lots of challenges. And the most important one is prioritizing. Going from the MVP to a complex and always evolving incrementally platform. This is very difficult. And for example, Daniel doesn't work with us anymore, and we had to build a team. At the beginning, Daniel went to another he was going to do other stuff, and we were depending on developers that were not inside working in Catarse. So we decided to internalize the team, and from that point on, that our work started to really get a little bit more consistent and incremental every time, and we are always refactoring the website. We are open source, for example, from the beginning. We wanted to let people get the code and do their job on top of our code. And there's a lot of platforms around the world that use the base code from Catarse. And this is what happened when it started with 70,000 reais in 1 month to now almost 2 million every month, being distributed to creators through the platform. Yeah.
Do you remember what was the first funded case from Catarse?
Repórter, if I recall it all right. Yeah. Those were 5 of them. Yeah. One of them was not successful, and the 4.
Okay, so you had 4 out of 5 in the beginning.
Yeah, 4 out of 5, yes, in the beginning. And it escalated pretty quickly.
Yeah. So you were probably, I think, the first crowdfunding platform in Brazil.
Yeah.
We have the crowdfunding is really present in our culture. We have vaquinhas, you know. So I think maybe you could, but no one had never thought about, you know, creating a platform for that. So we had the examples of the platforms, you know, abroad, Kickstarter, and I know many people tried, maybe at the same time or a bit after. Why do you think you succeeded? You know, it went so well for you and not that well for others.
Oh, this is a good question. There were lots of platforms. I saw lots of platforms die and get out of the business during the past like 7 years. And I think the first thing is like we were pioneers, the first movers, and but that's not the most important aspect. I think the most important aspect is the passion. We really had like passion about what we were doing. Like we really wanted to see the business thrive, and we didn't even saw it as a business. We saw it as a mission and a purpose that get these different kinds of entrepreneurs together to solve a problem, and we had a pain. I couldn't, like, for example, I was a photographer. I couldn't like expose and have funding for my photographies. I couldn't, Danielle couldn't dance. And I think this motivation and this like this inner drive that we had in ourselves like made us thrive. From the first platforms, only us, Benfeitoria and Embolacha are like the survivors. Yeah, and it was tough, and it's a tough market. Crowdfunding is not easy. Like,
yeah, especially in Brazil.
Especially in Brazil.
Not, you know, we don't donate that much. We don't volunteer that much.
Yeah, and the ecosystem is not so well developed in many aspects. Yeah.
Okay, and I mean, it's cool that you're mentioning the purpose.
Yeah.
And so you have this goal of helping people achieving and make their projects happen, and but the platform is part of the job.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only, okay, I'll go there, I'll go online, I'll set up a campaign, and then it's not going to happen, right? No. What else do you do to help these people achieve their goals?
Yeah. Education, like content. And I think the platform is a very important factor. Like, if you do not have an easy to use and very understandable in terms of interface and the user experience platform, you see people getting out of it. They will not return, they will not use it, they will like go to another platform that offers some job that is done by the other platform that gets the people to get out of your platform. So I think that it's half and a half. And the other half is like, you really must offer a strong branding and confidence. I think the coin in crowdfunding is confidence. Like the creator must interpret you as a trustworthy platform, and the backer must see you as a place where good creators are putting their projects on. And the audience is everything. The community is everything in a crowdfunding platform. And I think in most of the two-sided marketplace businesses, and I saw that 4 out of 6 here are two-sided marketplaces. Yeah. And I think you should build trust. There's no two-sided marketplace without trust. And this is difficult. It involves branding, it involves excellence in your product, in building your product. It involves like being very, very passionate about what you do, because this pass onto your users. So I think this is what's important when you're...
Okay. Tell us a bit more about the open source side of the project. So you've developed, your stack is on Ruby, right?
Yeah, Ruby on Rails.
Okay, cool. And what, do you know why this was the choice, or you're not a technical guy?
No, I know. Yeah. I'm not a technical guy, but I really...
But you have to do in the end, right?
Yeah. No, and I have this frustration that I'm not a technical guy. I would like to be the technical guy. And
I have a next batch going on.
Crowdfunding is about collaboration. We didn't see any kind of sense in like having a proprietary code. we really wanted to let it unleash the beast and see what would happen. But we didn't. This is a critic for ourselves. Like, we didn't evolve the open source strategy correctly. I think we would have been much more successful in terms of receiving benefits from the community if we had like paid attention. If we had paid attention to the open source aspect of Catarse.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it was. It's based on ideology. I
Okay,
think. Yeah.
but the idea is it the idea to improve your code, or the idea is to generate like many forks, many forks projects, and different spins of the crowdfunding
I
idea?
think the idea is the fork, not like evolving our own code.
I see.
Yeah.
Because it works, right?
Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a lot of platforms built on top of our code around the world.
I see.
States, and we have seen platforms in Chinese. It's
yeah?
crazy. Yeah.
Cool. Guys, it's a chat, so if you feel free to ask questions. Going back a little, I would like to hear a bit about the numbers.
Yeah.
I know you're expanding a lot and still growing.
Yeah.
And tell us a bit, the number of projects.
Yeah. Okay. 400,000 people already like backed the project in Catarse. It's small compared, for example, to Kickstarter, but for Brazil it's huge. And I think we are the biggest in Latin America. More than 5,000 projects had come to life through Catarse, and more than 64 million reais were pledged through Catarse. And it's very interesting because people are willing to donate, to contribute. And if they are like evolved by your idea, and it's a good strategy to launch products, for example. And we have seen lots of products that got traction by starting with crowdfunding projects. We have lots of cases of success in different categories. It's very interesting to see, and I think crowdfunding is evolving. And now we have like 17 people in
the team.
Yeah, our team, and we were like 5, then we grew to 10, then we grew to 26, and then we downsized it to 14, and now we are slowly growing ourselves to become more consistent. Okay. And it was not all flowers. Like, for example, 2015 was very tough for us, and we had to change a lot of stuff, and it's always a challenge.
You're mentioning the evolution. What do you think is the next frontier for like financing?
This is good. I think the next frontier is blockchain. And I think, for example, lots of ideas from here today could be well served or better served, I don't know, because I don't hold the answers. With blockchain technology, and I think now blockchain is like surrounded by ICOs, lots of money, and people like raising $24 million in 24 seconds, and it's like I don't think this is the path. I think that what blockchain will change utterly would be in governance, the way people interact in companies. And for us, for ourselves, like we really want Catarse to be more decentralized and more non-hierarchical organization. And I think and crowdfunding will like be crowdfunding, not blockchain, will be like the thing that will the foundation that will allow us to be more disruptive in our own business model, I think, and lots of other business models.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on that? How you would incorporate like the
blockchain? Nowadays, our points of values of exchange between the users of the two-sided marketplace is the pledge. Of course, you have the shares, but what generates values for both sides is the pledge. But we saw, like, for example, if you are a video maker, there are people who needs a video maker. If you are a writer, there are people who needs a writer to like copy your product or to help you making the description of your project and like improving the chances of success with your project. And I think there's a whole ecosystem waiting to be evolved, and blockchain could like serve to this purpose. Like, for example, the interactions that could be done through blockchain would be much more like secure, consistent, and transparent. We could, like, for example, release reports saying that we generated lots of thousands of opportunities that do not concentrate only in the pledge. We generated jobs, we generated like people getting to know each other, connecting and launching new businesses. And I think blockchain could help us to do that. And even, for example, like if we want to open the company, you could be like a shareholder, not in a way that people hold shares today, but in a way that you would have a portion of Catarse, and you could even like help us to decide which way to follow, which path to follow. And I think I see lots of applications to blockchain in terms of crowdfunding. For example, there's a movie right now that is raising funds through blockchain. And people, instead of going to a film studio, they are like using blockchain to raise the funds, and they will produce the movie, and people will like help in every step of the production and get return over investment. It's interesting.
I'm curious to know, how do you build your singularity among all the competitors that you got?
Our singularity among...
How do you build it?
Yeah.
To don't be finally the copy-paste and...
No.
And forgot because anybody is using...
Yeah.
So how do you build the singularity basically?
Narrative. I think we invested a lot in narrative, like how we communicated and for example, the UVP, the unique value proposition. And I like to use the Power of Why book, like unique value promise. What you promise to your user is very important to us, and it's something that you need to craft on. It may seem that it's only a phrase or only but it's not. That's what you are telling to your customer. And I think the narrative is one of the things that detached us from the rest of the competitors, and the way we blended with the community, because this was very important. Like I was a cultural producer, and I was inside the community of artists here in Rio, and Diego is a net weaver, one of the founders, and I think these two aspects were determinant, and the code, and we were like we wanted something very well done, not something that worked, but something very well done.
Yeah. Is it correct if you say that you focus more on culture products instead of like actual products? Is it a correct way to put it?
Yeah, I would say so. We did not have, like, for example, investment. We bootstrapped ourselves entirely. So yeah, I think we invested in the culture around what we wanted the crowdfunding ecosystem here in Brazil to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested in blockchain, and I'm wondering how do you, maybe not in such a technical term, because I know blockchain is kind of technical. Yeah. I've been following it for a while now, but I still really don't get exactly how do you guys utilize it? Like, how do you guys use it? If you're using it, I'm assuming you are, because you've been talking about it.
I think one of the developers in Catarse, he used to say, Diogo Biazus, he used to say that not only the technical guys are the developers. He says that the guys that envision stuff and start to study and bring the knowledge, they are also the developers. They just perform another function, but they are also developers. I'm not the technical one. I can like relate to the technical stuff. I can read some of the code shallowly, but yes, I can. And blockchain is the same. I'm started to study it like this year more profoundly. One of our co-founders, Luis, is like diving into the stuff, and even going to Switzerland right now to a place called Zig, I think, where they are like facilitating in terms of jurisdiction and laws to blockchain companies to being like launched. And we are trying to, we had conversations with guys from the Ethereum Foundation, and we are like scoping the landscape to understand technical issues, to understand who we need to talk to understand how can we apply it efficiently to our business model. And I am not so concerned right now about the technical stuff. This, we are like, I like the OODA loop. It's like observe, orient, decide, and act. Like we are right now observing and orienting ourselves of what is going to be like blockchain. Because I really think that we'll have a window of opportunity that will disrupt lots of business models. Like when we saw, for example, like the marketplace, like iTunes, this kind of stuff, and the hardware, like iPhone, that disrupted the music industry. I think we'll see this in a few years. Right now, it's like concentrated in a vertical, in a financial fintech vertical, but I think it will spread throughout lots of other kinds of business models.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have two questions. What was your biggest difficulty?
Yeah.
And how did you overcome it?
Ah, okay.
The one you said I want to quit.
I want to quit. Yeah, this is a good one, a good way to put it. Man, team formation and culture, company culture are always challenging. And we are a remote company. It's even more difficult because we are not in the same place, and building a company that is aligned and converging towards a common objective, a common goal is even more difficult when you are working remote. Like I'm I'm lone wolf living in Florianopolis, and there are two of us like living in São Paulo and Australia and Belo Horizonte, and I think this is a challenge. But the most challenging stuff that made me want to quit was like not being able to see that if we made the option of being a bootstrapped company, we should be profitable from the first day on, and we like cash burned and got like sold cars. And no, man, if you are going to bootstrap, you should be like profitable from the day one. And today I think it's something that keeps me awake. But I would say that company culture, it's the most underestimated challenge that people like do not usually see.
Yeah, you don't have the option to do a crowdfund for yourselves.
Yeah, no.
to keep that company alive.
Yeah, maybe we considered that. Yeah,
You did.
Like eat your own dog food. Like okay, let's crowdfund it and raise funds for ourselves. But I think it would be like very misleading.
Yeah,
in terms
of course.
And so how did you overcome this
company
challenge
culture?
of company culture. Separated around the world.
Over communicating, I think, and reading a lot, and being open, and being very, very, very open to feedback, because it's so nice to say, oh, let's go build a culture of feedback, but when people receive, for example, negative feedback, they freak out. And no, man, negative feedback is like even more important than positive feedback sometimes. I think there's a culture of let's be positive all the time, and this leads you sometimes to denial. There were a period in Catarse that we were in denial, not being able to see that we had tough challenges ahead, and right now we are not like this anymore because we invested in culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have one question related to that, but I need to know if you this will be weird to ask now,
No,
do you
wanna
guys
shoot it?
hire new developers?
Yeah.
Yeah. How you introduce these guys in a distributed company? Like how these guys, like, because as a new developer now, my head is telling me, like, I want to work in a company that has like senior people that I can talk every day, I can learn from them. And how you guys manage to like bring these people like inside the company and make them like grow inside the company, learn, like, because like this is something that I'm really interested in now. Like, if you say yes, like how do you guys do that?
Like our onboarding process and training process. Yeah, we throw people in the jungle. Like, handle yourself, man. Yeah, I know it's tough, but I really believe that if you do not have like more than 30 people can like resolve yourself. And I think this questions of you is related, like, you should, if you are working remotely, you should hire people that have this kind of mindset. They can handle themselves, like working alone. It's tough. Sometimes you like cabin fever. You talk alone, and it's crazy. Slack is not like enough. But mostly, I think that of course we are very receptive. We are kind to each other, and we are always talking to each other. But sometimes you should rely on the possibility and the capacity that people have to handle themselves in tough situations. I don't know if I think it's not orthodox of ourselves, like, but it worked.
Or what do you do? Like, you like throw like, oh, you should do that, and like,
yeah, talk to people, and have conversations. And if you have a doubt, shoot it, man. There's no wrong question. The wrongness is if you're not asking the question. You should ask everything. And of course, for example, one of our co-founders, Diego, he likes training, he likes onboarding, and he does onboarding. I think the thing is, if you are leading a team and you want to onboard people, go. Autonomy. I think autonomy is the answer. No, it's difficult to understand, and sometimes people feel like not so comfortable in this position, but it worked fine for us.
You just go there, start working, and then you have a catharsis, and then you're ready.
Yeah, you'll not freak out. If you start like slowly asking people, and they will like be like, solicit, and they will like answer your questions.
Okay, guys, questions?
You told like one of the main difficulties was to build, like one of the main things was to build trust.
Yes.
Between like two-way marketplace.
Yeah.
And how do you build this trust in the beginning? Only through narrative, as you told, or you have like follow-ups from the projects, or like any mechanisms?
We get involved a lot with the creators. I think it's a signature of us. We are not selling the how easy it is to have a crowdfunding project. We are not saying come here and go and you have money. No, that's not the question. I think we're saying come on, learn, understand your needs, talk to your potential backers, and we do not rush ourselves to close a deal. No, and I think that's the way you build trust, because if you are having this attitude towards the creator will have this attitude toward the backers. And of course, we enforce like good practices, like, man, communicate. Man, if you are late, if your delivery is late, come on, communicate. And we have problems, of course. Everyone does. Yeah.
And how do you do that? So you follow each project on the platform. You really have this one-to-one relationship with each of the...
Not every project.
Okay.
We have even we like P1, P2, P3, like the organic ones, and this one goes through this path, and this one we will get... Generally, we get more proximate of people that are like more like related to our values. Like we want to make impact, and we want to like people who are really creative or stuff like it's not the measurements, not money, for example. It's like the way your project is
Its
built.
impact and, you know,
How
I mean,
is it designed?
and also
the impact it causes.
Okay, so you have a curatorship.
The platform is open, but we have a kind of curatorship in terms of how we get involved more one-on-one with creators.
Trying to accelerate certain projects which are more aligned with your.
Okay. Because it's very like there's a relation between like if there's a very cool project, lots of the long tail comes after, and that's strategic, for example.
Okay, cool.
You were talking before, but I would really like to understand more about the benefits of being open source. And why to incentivize people to just fork your project and take your hard work, for instance, and just start running your own business without maybe even writing back saying thank you. But what's the benefit of this?
In my point of view, I think being able to serve more people and to cause more impact. I think this is the main stuff. Like, for example, one of the platforms here in Brazil that were theoretically like our competitors, I don't think they were. Like they used the Catarse's code, and we were not able to serve the customers that they were serving. So that's the benefit. The increment, like the code being evolved was not the main benefit that we observed, because we do not like paid attention to the open source aspect of it. But I think that making more impact was the benefit. Like there are in United States, for example, the Neighborly. It's a crowdfunding for neighbors to cause impact in their neighborhoods. It was made on top of our code. So we know that there are people using our code to make impact in other places. So this is enough for us. It's crazy. We do not make money out of it, but it's okay. Yeah.
It's about building trust.
It's about building trust in a way, yeah.
Yeah. Mathieu, you have questions? No.
I have one, but it wasn't. That's the question.
Okay.
I have one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like which was the nicest project that you've seen being built in the Catarse and you feel like really proud of helping?
Oh man, this stuff, man. There's plenty of them. Like
like the first one.
Like a highlight one. I really love one that is like right now. It's like open to pledges. Like it's a fry. It's a pan, iron pan. It's a guy who are like making iron pans, and this one they are making a Dutch oven. Dutch oven is like I don't know how to explain in Portuguese. It's like uma caçarola. And
Casserola.
Yeah, casserola. And I like because I could never imagine that I would like back a kitchen ware in Catarse. And it's a very author and signature like kitchenware, and I think it's very interesting. But I also like Mundano, Pimp My Carroça. It was a graffiti artist that became huge. Like it started with one project, and now he like benefits lots of people. And we are proud of it. But there's so many projects, man. Every time is a new like that's what keep us going, even through tough times. Like every time there's something. Oh, this is cool, man. Yeah, that's it.
I did. Whoa. I almost did. Yeah. You're having a question?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
it was you. Sorry.
It was back to how much? Like, is it only in Brazil? Is Catarse only in Brazil?
Right now, yes. We accept international payments, but we are open only to Brazilian creators. Yeah.
And my other question was how many projects? How long have you guys been doing it?
Yeah.
And one last one was do you guys accept anybody who wants to try to be on your site, or do you guys have kind of like you have
guidelines or
project, guideline. Like, no one can just sign up and say, oh, I want to put my name out there for this.
We have been in the business for 7 years, like since 2011, January 2011, and we are open, an open platform. You can just launch a project. our algorithm will like only list you if you're really like performing your campaign, because there's a lot of people who thinks that, oh, let's put a project on and just nothing happens.
Yeah, I am a living example. I was telling you, I have a bad experience with crowdfunding. I did one campaign.
Yeah.
It didn't work out well, even though we raised, I think, 8,000 reais at the time. So what tips would you do for the Fernando of the past?
It's not like lobbying, like go to a platform, because the platform has the critical mass. Mass, like we have like the audience, and I think it's crazy, but we have even a metric that we say XX% of your backers were from previous projects or from new projects, or if you can like measure if you are acquiring new clients or new backers or whatever you want to call it. But I think this is one of the stuff. We saw that even, for example, in the comic book category, lots of the guys tried to like solo raising funds, like, and in Catarse they raise more, because we have the community, and the community is like searching for projects, and we are recommending it, and we are talking to people, and everything like is going round and round, and people find other projects beyond their initial interests. And the other tip would be like, do not underestimate the effort, because it's a very it's a campaign. It's not something that you just send an email. You need to call people. You need to talk to people. You need to breathe your campaign during the period that you are on air. And previous planning, I think it's very important.
There's also technique, right?
Yeah,
you start by this target, and then you move
and then
to
you do that.
People close to you. Then.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I think we have plenty of material to support your studies when you want to launch a campaign.
And I had another question. Do you guys have people, do you back like sports athletes or people who are aspiring to be musicians or poker players? Because I ask, because in the poker realm, they actually have what are called backers.
Yeah.
But you have a certain like setup with one person who makes all the money when you win. You know, there's I know several like backers who have made millions just from backing players. You know, and quite a
like
few.
a return on investment.
Yeah, but like for you guys, like I was just wondering if you guys had a platform for that kind of thing, because you know, you can back someone, maybe someone wants 1%. I'm going to play in the main event. It's a $10,000 buy-in. But if I win it, I win $8 million, and then they could get, you know, 2% or 5% or 10%.
Now, this is possible, but in Brazil, it's not permitted to receive money from our kind of business model. This is one problem. You cannot receive like money in return of your pledge. You cannot do that, or booze, or drinking, or drugs, or of course this kind of stuff. So you cannot bet. You cannot like this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's
so
a form of risk, right?
yeah.
Like giving your money
But
to try to win money.
they released like a regulation now, and maybe this kind of stuff that you're talking about will be possible in the near future. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
My question is, how do you think that you can motivate most people to donate money, especially on the crisis time?
It's a good question. Yeah, we grew a lot during the crisis. I think it's because everything else becomes more scarce, and people tends to look at this model and say, man, it's a possibility. And out of fear, or out of this feeling of I do not want to depend on traditional and conventional ways of getting funded, I will try this. And And it's a good way to I think with Kickstarter it happened the same. Like they thrived. The crowdfunding originally thrived during the crisis in the United States, when people tried, oh man, let's go do that, and money. Here in Brazil, it's crazy. We have been asked about it a lot. Like, how during the crisis are you growing? And I think, man, people are starting to get along with each other, and not me with the government or with the bank. I want to be side by side with people that have common interests. You know, I think that's the question.
You think that in the future one day you can reach the size of Kickstarter or something like that?
I don't think so. Yeah, and I'm very realistic about it. Like, Kickstarter is in the United States, and I think that's a good thing for every entrepreneur. Like, you must know your market. Of course, we have the potential, but when you look, oh, we have 200 million people here, or we could go global. But Kickstarter had like the whole industries of diverse categories, not only one category or one vertical, were already developed before the crowdfunding model. So if you talk about like music, they have access to means of production. We do not have this kind of access here. For example, if you want to release a book, you do not even have like easy way to produce your book in bulk. They have lots of options, and I think this infrastructure that is previous to the crowdfunding, it's like a country or industry infrastructure, is determinant to access the potential of the platform, of a crowdfunding platform. Of course, we can be much bigger than we are right now, and I think it's a thing. But be like Kickstarter, I don't know. I think it's too much.
Yeah.
You guys all know me as a poker player, but I also aspire to be a professional volleyball, beach sand volleyball player. I was wondering if people, like, say I want coaching, and I don't have the money.
Yeah.
But like, can you give for that? It's kind of like a project to make me a professional athlete. The users don't, gain any money or anything. But if they're volleyball fanatics like me, and they like my story, or they see me like kind of rising the ranks, but I could use a little bit more money for travel, or you know what I mean, something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Like judo, like the fighting. There's a guy from judo that he had like raised funds for 6 or 7 events. There's a guy who are going to study in Silicon Valley right now. I think Draper University. I don't quite remember the name. He raised funds to go to the Silicon Valley. There are people that are raising funds for like launching a MVP. People that are raising funds to lots of stuff. Anything is possible. Only if you do not offer interest in terms of money, like and money and stuff like that. Or nothing illegal.
So, like, these people, they have like a certain range of amount of money they want to make, or they just take whatever they end up getting after 2 weeks?
We have the two models. We have the all or nothing model. That usually it is a model that fits. Like, if you want to make a movie, you cannot make one movie. You can make a movie with 10,000 reais, a short. But you cannot make it with 1,000. So you put it there, all or nothing, 10,000. But if you want to sell something that you already have, or something that any kind of amount would be worth it, so you use the flexible funding model.
But do you have to prove that this amount was used for that project?
This is one of the benefits. For example, the blockchain technology would be like that. This is for example, something that we are questioned about every time. And I say, man, I really believe that the community self-regulates itself. If you like make shit with the money, like spend it in something that you should not be spending it, the community will notice, and you will be like in a not good position.
Like 2 weeks ago, there was like a raising thing. Like, there's a guy in Brazil, he teaches online how to code, and he raised like like last year I don't know $60,000 reais to do like a live online course, and he never delivered. Delivered the course. Everybody was complaining about that. It was like a huge riot.
Everyone who donated said, "Hey, where's the course?" So you get a bad name.
No, not like he was like he went public asking for excuses.
I don't remember the name of the guy.
I think he never get money anymore. From this kind of stuff.
It was not on Catarse. Okay.
I think it was Luis Fonseca. You know the guy. What is the average funding for successful projects, for funded projects?
But we have like a broad spectrum of it. Like, I think the average is like 15,000.
Okay.
15 to 25,000.
They have small projects, like
small
the guy
projects.
only needs 1,000 reais for.
It's easier, and usually, for example, there's a metric that's very interesting. You start with one of 10,000, and then you go to one of 20, or you start with 8 and go. In the fourth, fifth product, you'll be easily it's much more easier to get funded than the first one, because you have like we call the repeat backers. You retain if you are delivering correctly your projects. On the fourth project, the people already trust you, and then in 2 days you get funded. It's much more easier. And there's another aspect of it. In the seventh, maybe sometimes guys are I begged too much. I want another stuff, and then you get difficulty again, and that's why we are trying always to solve these kind of problems that appear and during our journey, and we are like learning from the process all the time. Like we knew that on the fourth project it was everything okay, and then we are starting to learn that when the guy is really a recurring creator, maybe the best solution is not the project, is the recurring model. And that's why we are evolving, we're always evolving incrementally the platform, solving problems and the jobs to be done. Like that's a methodology that we sometimes we follow.
Okay. Last question.
Okay. Do you think there's still place for niche crowdfunding platforms?
Good question.
Like the guy, the bot,
like Puck Player.
Because one of my ideas was like a crowdfunding for farmers.
I wrote about it, about niche platforms, and I really liked one. I will not recall the name, about like producing books for photographers, but it like bankrupted. What I think about it is like, for example, fig.co. It's a niche platform that targets games, electronic games, and they like stole the whole games category from Kickstarter, for example. This is a niche crowdfunding that worked, but it worked because they innovated in an aspect. They provide you the possibility of being only a backer, like I just want to back and receive the game, or being an investor. They had like the Security Exchange Commission, the approval to work like that, and you can choose. I will invest this game, and if this game sells a lot, I will receive return over investment. I think this kind of niche platform has a possibility of thriving in a long game, because they are bringing something new to the model. But if you only want to I don't know, assemble a niche platform, and if this problem is being solved by a huge platform, they will always win because they have the audience. And this is, unfortunately, is a market of winner takes all, I think. It's difficult for the small ones to survive in the long game. Unless you have, for example, people backing you up, like you have subscribers. Your platform has subscribers. You know, that would be an option.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
That's it.
We're running out of time. You know, people's drinking our beer over there. So we need to go there and save the beer. I would like to thank you again. It
Thank
was
you.
amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.